Hello, it's Francis Jeffrey, the 500px.com photographer, coming to you all again from South Bend, Indiana. This is Pier Park, and the building that you see across the river here is the building that I was talking about in my previous video, which looks very similar to the building that was involved in a photography invasion of privacy case in New York City, where Arnie Sevenson used a telephoto lens to be in his apartment and zoom in on people in their living spaces in an apartment complex which was almost totally glass like this across the street, and photographed them. And then he submitted his photos to galleries all across the country, and thousands if not millions of people saw them, and eventually people living within the complex found out about it, and he got sued and he won the case. Personally, I'm not a fan of his work, but because I do know a thing or two about the legality of photographing private living spaces without the consent of the owners or tenants, I figured I would do a video about it for my YouTube channel. I don't know if this is a private living dwelling or not, but it looks very similar to the building that I'm talking about in New York City. Meanwhile, I do know that this building here is a private living space. I'm pretty sure that this one is too, but I'm not certain. So while I'm here, I'm going to document the rest of Pier Park, because I do occasionally get the chance to come here and shoot photos. If you go to 500px.com and look through my profile, or look up South Bend, Indiana, or look up Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, or look up Pier Park, or Gwen Stiver Park, then you'll come up with some of these photos. The reason for maybe coming up with some of these photos, if you look up Gwen Stiver Park, is because there's a park on the other side of the bridge there called Gwen Stiver Park, and until a bad flood that happened a few years ago, there used to be a bridge which connected these two parks, and so I used to come down to this area to photograph more often, because there used to be like an interesting bridge in between the two parks, and so it was easier to go from one park to the other, and you also got much more beautiful nature scenery. I like to come down here and photograph the Canada geese. They put that fence up down there because there used to be a homeless squatter that squatted there. And I actually used to know the person, because I used to talk to the person when I was down here shooting photographs. And I miss the person because they were a very nice individual, and I just hope they didn't wind up in prison. Now, this building over here is called the Century Center. There's an art gallery in there, and they oftentimes hold events and stuff like weddings and Sweet 16s, etc. So there's a decent chance that I might be photographing events in there in the future. This building over here is the DoubleTree by Hilton Hotel, and they have a Starbucks location there, so I occasionally have gone in there and gotten some coffee and taken hotel interior photographs. Here's an interesting perspective. I might have to get that photograph when I'm done with the video. Now, I might still have sound problems in some of my future submissions because I still have videos on my phone that have not been submitted to YouTube yet, and my phone has a broken receiver, so I still need to get a new phone. Now I'm just going to go to the top of this bridge here to get a very scenic view of the park. Wow, there's a homeless encampment. I'm gonna have to photograph that as well because it's really interesting how the bridge is bright over here and the bridge is bright to the right of the tent, but the tent itself is in darkness, and it looks like the person who lives in the tent is going through a time period of their life where they are also in darkness. You see, in professional level photography, you have to try and story tell, unless you're doing fine art photography. All right. I'm at the top of this little bridge now, and so if you see my bike down there, it's because I parked it down there so that no one steals it, because I lost the combination lock to it. I've always wondered what the heck this thing is. It looks really cool, whatever it is. It's just like a dark tunnel, and music comes out of it. Alright, so as soon as I get back to my bike, it's gonna be the end of the video. That building over there called Emporium is a very interesting looking building, and they do seem to me to have art galleries in there, but I think it's actually a restaurant. I've never actually made a purchase there, so I wouldn't know for certain. So before I take off, I'm actually going to walk back up to the top of that bridge and take that homeless encampment photograph, and then I'm going to come back down here and leave. Sometimes this arena is open from out here and sometimes it isn't. It's an interesting arena to visit, but it's part of the Century Center. You know what? I'm actually going to have to grab this photograph as well before leaving. But first, I have to say sayonara and get my more important photograph, which is of the homeless encampment. Have a good day. Bye-bye.